how many high school prospects do you know that went from doing this to this?
San Ysidro High School basketball star Mikey Williams is facing multiple charges tonight related to a shooting in Hamul.
A judge today ordered former San Ysidro High School basketball star Mikey Williams to stand trial on 6 felony gun charges.
The 19-year-old is accused of assault with a firearm and shooting at an occupied vehicle in March outside his home in Hamul.
See, Mikey Williams is not just an ordinary high school hooper. He's a basketball phenom with over 5 million followers all over his social media accounts. And just 2 years ago, he made history by being the first ever high school basketball player to sign a sneaker deal with a global footwear company at just age 17. But despite all the glamour, fame, and money that he has, not to mention the fact that he had big potential to set foot in the big leagues by 2024, Williams was able to squander that all away on one fateful night on March 27, 2023. So how did Mikey Williams, a high school basketball superstar and a consensus 4-star recruit, manage to steer his once promising career from going to the bright lights of the NBA to a possible 30-year sentence behind bars? Now, before we get to the meat of the matter, let's get to know more about Mikey Williams first and have a brief look back to see how he got in this hot mess in the first place. Born in San Diego, California on June 26, 2004, Mikey Williams was already destined to play sports since he was a baby, growing up in an athletic household where his mom, Charisse, was a decorated softball player while his dad was a hometown hero playing at Sweetwater High School. It was only a matter of time before Mikey followed his dad's footsteps and became a basketball player. I mean, his parents were so convinced that Mikey would become a big basketball star one day that they let Mikey dribble the basketball for the very first time when he was just 11 months old. Now, soon after, Williams' basketball career started to take off, and he just killed it against his peers that were the same age as him. In fact, he was so advanced that he recorded his first official game dunk at just 12 years old, when he was just in 6th grade. Then, when he was in 8th grade, Williams joined the North Coast Blue Chips AAU team, where he began to gain a bit of social media attention when he played alongside Bronny James, who, as you may know, is the son of NBA superstar LeBron James. In terms of his demeanor, Williams was a ferociously competitive player who never backed down from anyone, so much so that he would often get entangled in fights against bullies who were much bigger and stronger than him. Anyways, his passion for basketball was so crazy that he worked as a ball boy just to get reps for Coach Terry Tucker, who then was the coach for San Ysidro High School. And Tucker also said in an interview that Mikey was just a workhorse that he couldn't keep out of the gym. With his insane work ethic at an extremely young age, Mikey's hard work began to pay off on the court. He eventually attended San Ysidro High School, and in his first ever game as a freshman, Williams racked up an insane stat line of 41 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 steals in a lopsided win versus El Cajon Valley High School. And right after that game, Williams followed it up with another monster game and exploded for 50 points in a win against Mission Bay High School. Now, while you might think that this was already crazy, Williams was able to top himself yet again with a ridiculous performance. This time during their match against Kearney High School back in December 2019. In that particular game, Williams just went off and cooked up a career high of 77 points while single-handedly outsourcing their opponents en route to another huge win, 116-52. At that point, Mikey was starting to become a household name in the high school basketball community, and it was also around this time that Mikey started to gain a huge following on his social media accounts. Williams helped lead San Ysidro to a state championship where he averaged 30 a ball game before transferring to North Carolina to play for Vertical Academy for 2 seasons. And then, after dropping 23 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds in his junior year, Williams decided to go back to San Ysidro and finish his high school run there as a senior. As a consensus 4-star recruit, Williams had accumulated over 5 million followers on all his social media accounts throughout his high school career. And among those who followed him were some of the biggest stars in music and basketball, such as Drake, Kevin Durant, and the king himself, LeBron James. Because of his massive social media following, the global shoe company Puma signed Williams to a multi-year endorsement deal back in 2021, a feat that has never been done before by any high school basketball player in history. Now, after a successful high school career, Williams committed to playing for the University of Memphis under NBA legend Penny Hardaway as his head coach. At this point, things are just looking bright for Williams as he moves on to the next chapter of his basketball journey. Well, the good times didn't last long, because on the night of March 27, 2023, Williams' basketball and personal life were changed forever with one incident. According to reports, 5 people showed up at Williams' home in Hamul unannounced and asked for a walkthrough of the mansion. Now, after some time, a heated argument ensued between the unwelcome guests and Williams just before midnight. And moments later, gunshots were fired toward the alleged victims as they were fleeing the scene inside a car, according to the dispatch logs released by the San Diego County Sheriff's Department. Reports also stated that the reason why the group of 5, 3 of which were minors and the other 2 were adults, traveled to Williams' secluded abode in an Uber car was because one of them wanted to meet J.J. Taylor, who was living there at the time and happens to be a teammate of Williams in Memphis. Now, the girl said in the report that she went inside while the others waited in the car, and when Williams noticed her entering without his permission, Williams became angry and began to make threats. Although luckily no one was killed, there were bullet holes in the Uber car that were used. But this doesn't suggest that Williams was the one who shot them, since there were no witnesses who directly saw that Williams was the one who really fired the gun. Though he pleaded not guilty to multiple felony charges that were thrown at him by the alleged victims, Williams was recently ordered by the court to stand trial on top of facing 3 new additional charges pressed against him. And if he gets convicted in all of these charges, Williams could face up to 28 years in prison. And in the case he does, then Williams would be 46 by the time he gets out. Now, I'm not saying that Williams will probably be convicted, because that's for the court to decide, but as far as this issue goes, we've already seen this time and time again. But it seems that Williams hasn't learned the dark lessons of the past. We have seen several NBA players getting involved with guns, and as we're all aware of, it didn't end well for most of them, like Javaris Crittenton and Jason Williams, who served time for their actions. I mean, just last season, Ja Morant made the headlines on several occasions when he played with his guns live on Instagram and acted like he's still about that life, and acting like he's a gangster wannabe and stuff like that. But despite all of these examples, Williams still neglected all warning signs and decided to put himself in a situation where he'll most likely end up inside a cold jail cell. As the famous saying goes, with great power or fame, in this instance, comes great responsibility. Now, I'm not saying that Williams is already done for, but based on his demeanor whenever he's inside the courtroom and the multiple charges that were piled up against him, things are not looking good for Mikey Williams. And let's just see how all of this will play out in the upcoming weeks.